Hi Scorpios, and thanks so much for checking out your December 2016 General Tarot forecast. Before I get started on you guys reading, I just wanted to tell you guys that there will be some changes coming on my channel for 2017, starting in January, which I'm very excited for. I am thinking about starting an Introduction to Tarot series, where I'll basically talk about my experience with the tarot and maybe give some of the knowledge that I've gained over the years of working with it. So if you guys are interested in that, I would love for you to like this video or comment below. Okay? And also, along with the new year, I will be making some changes to my shop as well. My prices for readings will be going up due to the volume of people who are seeking out readings from me, because it's very draining work, and I just feel that it's that time. However, if you book a reading with me before January, then you will retain my current price, which is $65 for 30 minutes of pre-recorded video or 45 minutes of face-to-face consultation through Skype. So yes, if you book before the price change, you will retain that price. Whenever my clients do that, I like to allow them to keep the price from whenever they first started working with me. So anyway, I hope that you guys will like some of the changes that are on the way for my channel, and let's see what the cards have in store for Scorpios for December. Okay, just like Cancer, you guys have the Seven of Wands in the middle of your spread at the heart of the issue. Okay, and this is really great. For any of the Scorpios out there who have any Cancer in their charts, or vice versa, for any of the Cancers who have Scorpio, I feel like this is a really strong archetype that will be playing out for you guys. You guys are getting your energy back. A lot of Scorpios have felt very barren lately when it comes to energy. And a lot of Scorpios haven't felt like they have the power to manifest what they need on the exterior world, whether that be in relationships or finances. Everything seems to have had a limit. Everything seems to be very structured. It seems to be really hard to achieve to some extent. Like, it's very potential that through 2016, your vision of yourself, as it relates to relationships or money or anything, or even your health, you didn't quite live up to what you expected. Things did not turn out the way you expected them to. Because Scorpio and Cancer and a lot of the water signs have had so much swords in their reading, have had the really difficult, heavy archetypes popping up since I started these readings in September. And I really think that it's amazing that the Seven of Wands has come up for you guys, because yes, it does traditionally represent a sense of conflict. There can be confrontation that comes with the Seven of Wands, but it also says that you have the energy to handle it. It's like the universe is putting that into your life because it knows that you need to face it, and it knows that you have the energy to do it, or it knows that you need to be in a situation where you have to find that energy, where you kind of have to look within and kind of know what you have to become. Because potentially a lot of Scorpios have a lot of opposition right now, just like I said for Cancers. You see in the Seven of Wands there, it's like all of those rods are stacked against that person, but they are strong, and they have, kind of conditioned themselves to be ready for it through time and time again of surprise conflict, of surprise opposition. And you're not going to stand there and let people run you over. You are going to fight back. So that makes me so happy for Scorpios, because a lot of Scorpios have been letting themselves be walked on by other people. And, Scorpios are just kind of like, no, I'm not having it anymore. I'm not going to be walked on. And I will also link to Cancer's reading as well, because there are some similar archetypes going on here. If any of you want to watch it, it'll be in the description box and the cards in the top right-hand corner. Anyway, moving forward, and what you guys are going to discover once you finally stand up to your opposition, once you finally kind of give a situation that has been very purgatory-like, very monotone, once you finally give it a definite energy, whether you need to jump back into it and continue it, or you need to cut it off and give it closure, Scorpios are going to step into the energy of the star. What beautiful energy coming through for you guys, because November has, I wouldn't say that November's been the most eventful for Scorpios, for the Scorpios that I know, but even for some Scorpios that I've come into contact with, it's been kind of, like I said, monotone. It's been a little bit, like there's been a fear. Okay, this is it. There's been a fear in a lot of Scorpios, like a doubt in the higher power. like everything seems very purgatory, everything seems very monotone. And a lot of Scorpios have been having sort of an inward fear that what if that's all this is? What if that's all this existence is? Like, a lot of Scorpios have been asking the universe, like, I need you to come through for me. I don't feel as if I'm supported by the universe. I don't feel like there's any higher power manifesting for me. Everything seems so bleak. And it makes me so happy that the star has come up at the top of the reading for you guys for December. Because that's what the star is all about. The star is about reintroducing universal power into your life, lighting the darkness. And the fact that you have the Hermit there too, like the Hermit and the star together, what a beautiful combination of energies, because both of those energies are lights in the darkness. So inevitably in December there is going to be darkness. I don't want to sugarcoat that for you guys. However, there's also going to be bright, vivid lights amongst the darkness. And what more can you ask for? It's like it's part of Scorpio's condition as a sign to experience that darkness, to experience that deep, recessive, just immaculate darkness. And it really, the universe will prove itself in the bright lights that you find in that darkness, because the darker it is, the brighter the light shines. And that's the beauty of Scorpio's experience is, maybe if it wasn't so dark, the lights wouldn't be so bright either. Okay? And you guys have the Ace of Swords as well. And this is so great for me too, in my opinion, because there has been so many swords cards for Scorpio as of late in my readings, for personally with clients and for my general readings. 10 of Swords, 9 of Swords, 8 of Swords. It seems like Scorpios have been kind of going through the swords experience. A lot of the water signs have been, where you start, because the swords for me in tarot, a lot of people like to attribute them to the air element, which I obviously agree with. But there's something integrally involved in relationships with other people that tend to reflect the sword suit and the story that they tell. And that usually, the direction that takes from the air element, because the air element does deal with the self. It deals with your logic, your mental capacity, and the structures that you create internally. But it's always been, to me, the swords is also a very emotional suit too. Not in the same sense that the cups are, but there's a very emotional struggle and evolution that happens throughout the course of the sword suit in the tarot. And to me, having the Ace of Swords, which is the first one, it says to me that you've evolved, Scorpio. You have evolved yourself mentally and emotionally. In stepping into December, that evolution is going to become very clear, because Scorpios have been in the 10 of Swords. So it seems as if you've finally let go of something. You've finally accepted something's end. And now that you have, you can now re-experience the sword suit in a way with hindsight, with understanding, in an evolved way. Because everyone looks at the sword suit very negatively. Not everyone, but there is a negative association with the swords suit in tarot. But you'll see people in reference to their life, when you take a very highly evolved person at the self who goes through a situation that provokes ideas of the sword suit, versus someone who's very who is lower evolved, and look at their experience of that. It can be very, very different. So I'm excited that Scorpios may finally get to have a higher evolved experience of the sword suit. And that can manifest itself as an amazing new idea to apply anywhere in your life, whether that be relationships, health, career. You're going to maybe have a sudden, tangible, logical idea that you can use to really advance in a very short amount of time. But, that might come with its own fair share of decisions. You've got the Two of Pentacles. I think that Scorpios are faced with a lot of decisions right now. I think that Scorpios may be balancing two worlds right now. There may be Scorpios who are in a situation where they don't feel they can live authentically. Perhaps some Scorpios live with people who they can't quite be themselves around, and they have to balance that persona along with their true persona. That's possible right now, especially with the Hanged Man and the Hermit there. There's potentially a desire to... The Hanged Man is reversed, so that says that you want to get away from this feeling of suspended limbo. There's a desire to break free of those constraints and become the Hermit, journey off on your own, and start a new experience over with the Ace of Swords like we were talking about. You've evolved and you're ready to try this again. Because, like, not to get off on the sword suit too much again, but a lot of Scorpios had a very, very difficult run through the sword suit. And it's like you guys are ready to break those constraints. You guys are ready to go off anew. And you are ready to prove to the universe, I can do this again. And I can evolve better, even further higher. I'm ready to kind of have a do-over. A lot of Scorpios are ready for a do-over. Maybe second chances. That could come from the Two of Pentacles as well. A lot of Scorpios want second chances from somebody. And be careful of that, Scorpios. You know, maybe there are some small percentage of Scorpios out there who really did mess up, who really were the bad guy in a relationship or a situation, and maybe you guys do need to repent and, you know, ask for a second chance. But the way that I'm seeing it, a lot of Scorpios shouldn't be the ones asking for a second chance. There are people who should be asking for a second chance from Scorpios. So don't do that, Scorpios. Don't be the one to ask for a second chance when it's really them. When it's you who should be being asked, okay? Don't sink to that level, because people who won't be the bigger person and won't come to you, you know, they don't deserve a spot in your life. Those are the types of people who make your experience of the swords archetype so difficult. And it's only your fault at the end of the day because you choose to be around them. You choose to keep them in your presence. That doesn't make what they do okay, but you know, you're very perceptive. You know when people are going to give you a very harsh experience. You sense it, at least. There can be, and with the star too, there can be, I mean, the moon isn't here, so that's probably good. Some Scorpios sometimes like to avoid red flags, like to avoid the signs that something will go bad because they want it to work so badly. And Scorpio is that archetype. Scorpio breathes life into situations, so they, to an extent, think they can transform the people around them. And oftentimes they do, but oftentimes they don't transform them in the way that the Scorpio wants. You know, Scorpios, when they come into contact with other people, they will transform them. But don't expect that those people will transform in the way that you want or need, Scorpio. And that can be a harsh awakening for a lot of Scorpios, and part of what makes the sword suit such a difficult experience for Scorpios, because you cause such distinct transformations in others, but a lot of the time that's not something that serves you. So it can be a very tiring, exhausting, and visceral experience of life, and you need instead to look within. You've got the Hermit, and it's looking the opposite direction. An interesting idea. The Hermit and the Star are looking in the same direction in this reading, and they're kind of a very similar energy. They're both, like I said, they're the light and the darkness. And it's like it's looking to the left, which to me is looking at the self. Whereas you've got the Two of Pentacles and the Seven of Wands kind of looking to the right, and the Hanged Man is looking forward. So there are a lot of different directions you could go right now, Scorpio. You've got a lot of options, and that's hard. Very much stronger validated by the Two of Pentacles as well. It's all about options, choices, crossroads. And as a Scorpio, you're always looking and you're finding problems, pros and cons for each potential situation. But that moment that you are alone with yourself and you know that a situation isn't serving you, that's sacred, Scorpios, and you need to honor that. You need to honor that intuition and that ability of yours to see the objective truth of a situation. Scorpios have such an amazing ability to do that, but they get so clouded sometimes with that emotional evocation that they experience. That emotional, like, clinging and that emotional cloying feel that Scorpios have can completely distort that amazing objective view that they're also blessed with. That's why a lot of people think Scorpios are so crazy, because they have, on one hand, the ability to see an objective truth in its utmost transparency and clarity, But then they also tend to be completely bowled over by their emotional sense, which can completely distort and create an alternate reality that is what they want to see. And people see this about you, Scorpio. The close people in your life understand this paradox within you, and it is oftentimes why you can't hold on to a relationship, or that your close interpersonal relationships with others seem so frayed and so unstable. And it's not all your fault. You know, every zodiac sign has its positives and negatives and pros and cons. But one of the reasons why Scorpios find themselves alone without support is because no one ever knows which side of that you're going to be on, Scorpio. No one knows whether you're going to be transparent and be clear and look objectively, or whether you're just going to bowl other people over with your emotional power and aggression. Okay? And as that relates to this reading, when you have that clarity that I'm talking about, that objective clarity, because it can be fleeting sometimes, especially for those lower evolved Scorpios who let their emotions completely distort and dictate them. When you have that sense of clarity, Scorpio, and you know a situation isn't serving you, it's your responsibility to honor that because it is sacred, and to change your circumstances. Because if you don't, you're going to find yourself in the situation of the Tower, the Ten of Swords, Death. They're not bad archetypes, but there are better ways. The universe always gives you an opportunity to change it first before it comes in and destroys it all. Okay, so maybe you need to take this opportunity here coming into December, and maybe you need to change your circumstances with your own ability and not be so reliant. There's a reliance on other people too, potentially, with the Two of Pentacles and the Seven of Wands. That could be where a lot of conflict is coming from. That could be why you're seeing a lot of opposition, is because there's a struggle for independence, whether that be financial or emotional. There's a struggle for independence and a reliance that creates a lot of tension. And the universe may potentially be asking you, you know what, can you disconnect from all of that? Can you walk out on your own and be independent in solitude, fix some of your own problems, and then re-embark? You've got the Ace of Swords. It's a version of the Fool in the Sword suit. It's those two archetypes. It's time for you guys to prove to the universe that you have the means to be independent, that you have the means to rely on yourself. Because you have so much good to experience. You have so much positive energies coming forward. And oh my gosh, you guys have so much power. And even if it doesn't feel manifested on the exterior world, you guys have a lot of resources, whether that's emotional, financial, etc., etc., etc. There's a lot of core solar plexus, and heart energy that you guys have a very strong abundance of right now. And if you don't make some changes, if you don't shed these skins that are that have outgrown their service to you and to the people that you love, or the people around you, the people that are important, you could collapse inwards, and you're going to potentially make the people around you, their existence could become quite difficult. And you don't want that, Scorpio. You don't want to create a difficult atmosphere for yourself or the people that you love. So go with the changes, don't be, you're a fixed sign, so you can kind of really hold your ground even when it's obviously time to move and be fluid and flexible. Fixed water sign, it's hard because you have an inner fluidity and an inner, hardened, non-moving way about you. And again, that gets into those two distinct things that we were talking about earlier that makes people think that Scorpios can be a little bit crazy sometimes. But now it's time to be fluid. It's time to go with the flow. Now's not a time to be very hardened and stuck in your ways, because it's a good way to find yourself alone. And I'm not talking about the kind of alone that we seek in solitude to understand about ourselves. That's kind of required once we get to the place that I'm talking about. But I'm talking about the kind of alone where people don't want to be there for you, where people feel that you're a bit of a lost cause. And you're not. You never are. But when you jump from those highs and lows that we talk about, people start... Other zodiac signs, some understand it more than others, but for the most part, they want to start head in the opposite direction when they see that happening really often. So just keep that in mind about yourself, Scorpio. And one thing, as I said, I hope it doesn't sound negative, this entire reading, because at the end of the day, you guys have the power to change it. You have the power to change your circumstances. So when you see these difficulties, take a minute to analyze them and, just think, how can I turn this on its head? How can I flip it like the Hanged Man? What other perspective can I look at this from to see how to solve this problem? Because that is an inherent, innate ability within you during December. I wish you guys so much luck. As always, if this reading was good for you, please comment. I would love to start a dialogue with you guys and see how it's working out for you. And in the description box below, you can jump over to my shop and book a private reading with me. Be sure to do that in December so you can retain my price before it elevates more. And if you haven't subscribed yet, there's so much great content on its way starting in January of the new year. So I really hope that you guys will subscribe if you're interested in some more content from my channel. So I appreciate so much all of your support, and I really hope it resonates for you. Have a fabulous December.